Hey everybody, welcome to day 212 of Reseller Reflections, a day in the life of a full-time reseller supporting her family. Tonight we're going to talk about when you get derailed. All right. So, when you get derailed, there are things you can do, but we'll get into that in just a second. All right. So today we did meet our sales goal, our new one. It was the first week of the 12-week year program that we're starting, which basically is just condensing our goals and tactics into 12 weeks as opposed to, 52 weeks. So that's all it is. So it applies whether you're doing a yearly goal, 12-week goal, but we did hit our sales goal today. So that was pretty cool. I hit a bunch of little milestones today, little things I checked off, new things I'm doing as part of my tactics in the business, but it's a lot of like getting comfortable with the new situation. Yeah. And one of the things I did was reset to 0. And that has just been great. And joining me are Jill of Rusty Truck Relics, Jason the Santee Swapper, Judith R, Pam of Whimsy and Such, Becky of Becky Consigns, Lee of Lee Phillips 4191, and Vanessa, that diabetic reseller. All right, guys, keep doing it. Great start to the year. All right. So yesterday I talked about what gets you derailed, right? Like we need to be aware or hopefully becoming aware of patterns, right? Things that throw us off track. Maybe reasons we didn't meet our goals. You can go back if you didn't listen to yesterday, day 211, where I talked about what gets you derailed. Go ahead, listen to that. It'll be a good precursor to this. Figuring out those patterns of what gets you derailed, because there are always those circumstances, right? We talk about the things that get us off track. It could be just having a bad day. It could be an external, circumstance like a snowstorm. It can be just about anything, a friend coming to visit. There's a million things that derail us. And if we look back, at last year, I'm sure there were several things that got us off track or had the potential to get us off track. All right. So those things are going to happen. Sorry. It's just life. We're going to have those things. We're not all going to have perfect days and set up our time blocks and everything's going to go wonderfully, smoothly, just as we had planned. Sometimes we got to pivot. We have to, make do with the situation at hand. But it is not, absolutely not an excuse to stop shooting for your goal, to stop doing the things. It might be something you have to take a break or step away, but you can come back the next day or the next week or whenever. All right, you can do that. But what I really think is important that we recognize the fact that we are going to get derailed, that there are going to be these crazy hurdles and things we did not anticipate that are going to throw us off course. But we're going to be stronger than that, because I think we all need a good kind of contingency plan. What happens when you get derailed? You just throw up your hands and be like, all right, I quit. Or maybe I'll start again next year, or maybe I'll start again next month, or maybe I'll start again next week. And then you start feeling like, oh gosh, I never set out what I did. All right, whatever. Before you start spiraling and all that negativity and all that craziness, let's put together, while we're feeling fresh and going into the new year, a plan for when these unexpected things happen. Maybe it's a list, right? All right, I get in a funk. I just can't get myself out of it. I don't feel like listing. All right, that's going to happen. What are you going to do when it does? When you're feeling good enough, that's the time we put these things in place. Maybe it is you hop in a mastermind group. Maybe it is you have somebody wanting to coach you or a mentor. Maybe you reach out to them. Maybe that's your next step. Maybe you hop in a 24-hour co-working room. Maybe you use phone a friend, call a friend that is good at getting you out of that mindset. Have these things in place in advance and promise yourself, you know what, if I get to the 24-hour mark, if I get to the 1 week mark and I can't get myself back on track, I'm going to phone a friend. I'm going to finally call that coach or that mentor that I've been, meaning to, or I think might be beneficial to me. I am, going to I'm going to go to a local meetup. I'm going to do something. You need a plan, because when this happens and you don't have a plan, that's when you get off track. If you commit to having a plan now, like what happens when I get derailed? Is it a book you read? Is it a motivational speech you have, bookmarked on your YouTube video on YouTube that you really found inspirational and found motivating? And you make yourself listen to that, because these things are going to happen. Maybe it's something about starting fresh, starting over. Maybe it is, I don't know, whatever motivates you. Bookmark it, because you're going to have that day. It's going to happen. I think I jinxed myself yesterday, because today was just, it ended up good. Like I got the things done, but it was not easy. It was like, all right, I jinxed myself by talking about what gets you derailed. So I went to my cycling class this morning. There was a little incident. Maybe I'll get into it. Maybe I won't. I'm not sure. Wasn't great. Something out of my control. Wasn't great. Then, I came home and I'm doing everything. We recorded our episode that'll be coming out tomorrow for Consignment Chats, and my internet went out. All right, well, I really need the internet to work and to do all of the things that were on my list. I run an online business, and it wasn't going to be fixed for a couple of hours because we had a snowstorm, and it was a little bit of a mess here. So that was a little difficult. And then I started not to feel good. Then I started to get sick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? This can't be happening on the first day of like my really getting into the new year. It just can't. And then I thought, all right, well, you know what? I talked so much yesterday about what derails you. This is not going to derail me. So I came up with an alternative plan of things I could do without the internet. Like I could still photograph. I still had power here, which thank goodness, right? Because we know I lose power a lot. Still had power and everything. So I just pivoted and I did that, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do or exactly, the perfect time block or anything like that. But you know what? It worked out. It panned out in the end. Everything was great. Second, my internet came back on. I just got in the our 24-hour room on Zoom and just, chatted with a couple of people, and they were, real quiet, busy listing. And I just put my head down and I just got to work and did the things that needed to be done. And yeah, so I had that like in the back of my head, as I knew I was going to talk about this today. I didn't know I was going to have all of these challenges day one, but there you have it. So yeah, really give some good thought right now while you're in a good place. What are you going to do when you get derailed? What are you going to do when that outside circumstance comes in? Ideas. Call a friend, hire a coach, find a mentor, hop in a 24-hour co-working room, bookmark a YouTube motivational video, or a podcast or something like that you just have on standby, and promise yourself, hey, you know what? If it goes, whatever your time frame is, and this is individual, I don't know. For me, it would probably be like 12 hours, but 24 hours. If I can't get myself back on track, these are the things I'm going to do, and set it up now while you're in a good headspace. All right. So that's what you do when you get derailed. And that is one of the ways you can set yourself up for all of those hurdles that are going to come your way, even with the best plans, because life is unpredictable. The only thing that's predictable is there's going to be something we can't predict. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful night. I will see you on day 213 of Reseller Reflections. Night, night.